Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett educates Jim Jordan on how the law works. He did not know how to respond.
Mr. Smith will be given an opportunity to tell Congress and tell the country what he wasn't permitted to tell the court, what he wasn't permitted to tell the jury. Remember, Bragg and Colangelo bootstrapped charges that are normally misdemeanors to some underlying crime to make the charges a felony. But what was the underlying crime? Prosecutors didn't reveal that until after the trial began. Mr. Colangelo, in his opening statement, accused President Trump of violating the Federal Elections Campaign Act. But the problem is, in the plain reading of that act, doesn't support the indictment or the verdict. As Commissioner Smith stated, allowing this prosecution to go forward and the ultimate jury decision threaten the enforcement procedures established by Congress under the act and stretch the meaning of the statute in such a way as to threaten due process of law. Although Judge Merchan wouldn't permit the leading expert on campaign finance to provide this testimony, he did let someone else speak in the court on this issue and others, Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, a convicted perjurer, someone even his former lawyer said you couldn't trust. Michael Cohen, who lied to Congress, lied to the FBI, and lied to the court. It's not often you have a witness that can lie to all three branches of government and then become the star witness in the prosecution of a former president. But that's exactly what took place in New York. It is clear Manhattan District Judge Juan Merchan's decisions, guided by political bias, unfairly prejudiced the outcome of the trial and violated President Trump's due process rights. Bragg's prosecution of President Trump, with the help of Judge Merchan, opened the door for politically motivated prosecutions, and it will not be easy to undo the damage that's already been done. As we have seen, other ambitious prosecutors have followed Bragg's lead and pursued politically motivated indictments against the former president. Rather than debate political opponents on substance, the Democrats' strategy to win the 2024 election is through the use of partisan, lawfare tactics. These politically motivated local prosecutions raise substantial federal interest and potential collusion between federal and state authorities. And that is precisely why we are here today. Alvin Bragg's prosecution of President Trump was personal, it was based on politics, and it was wrong. I now recognize the ranking member for an opening statement, and then we'll get to our witnesses. I recognize the gentlelady from Texas.
Okay, I got a lot of ground to cover. I do want to clarify, Mr. Fahey, when you consistently talk about NY or New York crime, you're speaking in an opinionated stance. You're not speaking from a place of fact, correct?
No, I'm speaking from a place of facts.
Okay, well, let me clarify for you. Thank you so much. I'm reclaiming my time. Let me clarify for you that NYPD puts out reports. And in April, it said overall index crime across New York City dropped another 4.9%. As it relates to May, the report says overall index crime across New York dropped another 2.4%, and June's report hasn't come out. I would ask for unanimous consent to enter this into the record. Now, moving on, I just want to level set because I feel as if some people don't understand how government works, and I don't know how they got to Congress. So, Mr. Wu, I'm going to need you to help me out because I don't know that I trust that other people will know the answers to these questions. Number one, how many branches of government do we have?
3.
3. Okay, sounds good. So, can you name them for me?
Legislative, judiciary, and executive.
Very good. Okay, so currently, I think that I serve in the legislative branch. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay, fine. Can you tell me when somebody goes to court, such as a criminal convicted of 34 felony counts, state court in New York, would that be the legislative people or judicial people?
Well, it's really the executive that's prosecuting, and then it's within the judiciary to run the trial properly.
Okay, very good. So, judiciary. So, typically, if someone has an issue with, say, what happens in court, do they then somehow hop from state court all the way to the federal legislative branch, or is there a different process in which you are supposed to be able to explain any issues you may have?
The process would be the judicial appellate process, holding aside the issue of state versus federal.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. So normally people don't get convicted on a state level and somehow end up litigating the issue on the federal level in the legislative branch. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So something is different about what's going on today. I just wanted to clarify because I thought I was living in the upside down for a second. Now, I want to move on and talk about how someone is prosecuted currently, because under Project 2025, we'll get there. There will be a different way to prosecute people. But currently, it is my understanding, and I only kind of went to law school, passed a couple of bar exams, and practiced on the state and federal levels, but just clarify for me, when someone goes in to be prosecuted, is it, say, the President of the United States that somehow becomes the state prosecutor in New York?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not, because he's the executor, huh? That's that other branch.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so you have this prosecutor, and in this case, it's Alvin Bragg, who was duly elected, correct?
Correct.
Not appointed by the president, correct?
Right.
Duly elected by the citizens in his jurisdiction, right?
Right.
So he's elected, and usually there's some sort of an investigation that takes place, correct?
Prior to his election?
No. With a case, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I've
correct.
moved on.
Yes.
All right. So the very first part of a case is that we go through an investigation. After that investigation, then the prosecutor usually has what we would consider to be some sort of prosecutorial discretion as to whether or not they want to go forward, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then they use that discretion, but then when it's somebody that is facing a felony amount of time, which is usually in most states over a year, then they have to present it to a grand jury. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, a grand jury is comprised of citizens, correct?
Correct.
U.S. citizens from that area, correct?
Right.
Okay, so they have to come to the conclusion that they are going to issue what we call a true bill, correct?
Correct.
All right, so then we have an indictment. And then there's pretrial motions, there's pretrial hearings, all kinds of stuff, right?
Right.
All right, and then ultimately, depending on where you are, you have the opportunity to say, hey, I want a jury trial, correct?
Correct.
And a jury trial is comprised of U.S. citizens again, right?
Right.
Okay, very good. All right, so can you tell me so far if all of this took place in the case in New York?
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay. All right, so you get to trial. Now, when you show up to trial and you're facing a felony amount of time, as a defendant, are you not entitled to an attorney?
Yes, you are.
And your attorney is allowed to pick the jury, they're allowed to present evidence, and ultimately, it is a jury of your peers who decides whether or not you are guilty or not, correct?
Correct.
And in this case,
the picking has the judge involved too.
And in this case, they found him guilty not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, not 5, not 6. I could keep going on, but 34 counts were given. So the opinions of these people who were not juries is not what we do in this country. In this country, we have a system in which jurors decide who is found guilty, and if you have a problem with that, you go to the appellate court, which the last time I checked, he was raising money so that he could go to the appellate court and appeal his decision, and they will have the final say-so. Thank you so much.
Yes, they will. The gentlelady yields back, and the gentleman from North Dakota is recognized.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, if I may, just a quick, I just wanted to say, as just as a point of personal privilege, Linda Sanchez is not with us today, and she is at the funeral for her legislative director, Chandler Mason, who served this body and served this country for a number of years. And I just want to say on behalf of, I believe, all of us here, that we extend condolences to her family, to the office of Congresswoman Sanchez, and pray for God to give them comfort during this time for the untimely death of Ms. Mason.
No, well said, and I appreciate bringing that attention. I should have, this is my oversight, I should have said something about our colleague, Mr. Massey. Mr. Davidson and I and our Polly and Lisa and I had a chance to go down and visit with Thomas a week ago Sunday. He's doing as good as you can under these difficult circumstances, and his wife Rhonda was an amazing person. So to both members of this committee, thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.